What's up, everybody? This is Daniel Harms of the RGR Football Channel. Thank you for coming back. And if you're new, hit that like, hit the bell, hit the sub for the channel. Great help for us. It's a great help for you. Continues to get us out there for all the other Chiefs fans that we are missing. Today's going to be fun because we are in that specific dead zone where there is no football to watch. There's no training camp videos. There's no OTA videos. There's nothing. So what do I get to do? I get to go back and watch the Chiefs Bills divisional game, a revisit, a rewatch, a projection of what we can look for some players next year and how we can continue to see the offense grow. And really, we get to relive one of the greatest moments of Patrick Mahomes' career when he became the Grim Reaper and really took over in this game. Obviously, the overtime situation was its own thing, but really the 13 seconds, we're going to relive that and get into one of the greatest moments that we've seen as Chiefs fans. Definitely one of the most stressful, but also one of the best we've ever seen. So this is going to be a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoy it. Let's go ahead and get in. That was interesting. So the very first thing we are going to watch and talk about is Patrick Mahomes and his ability to evade. These are things we take for granted in Kansas City, and I believe a lot of fans take for granted as well, not just in Kansas City, but everywhere. And the greatness of Patrick Mahomes is shown everywhere, not just in the way he throws, in his own pocket feel, his own pocket presence, the way that he continually gets out of pressure, finds ways to make something out of nothing on an everyday basis. And this is just another one of those things where you see a little bit of pressure around the left side. He gets up in that pocket where he finds a little bit more and he does a little stutter stop. Okay. This is the epitome of what Patrick Mahomes does, because this is the comfort level growing, in my opinion, where we saw the one area from Orlando Brown where defensive ends can really get to him is the outside, that speed to the edge, things he can't do as well. Mahomes and Brown got on the same page, so he steps up here into this nice clean pocket where there's nobody really stressing them out. So it's a good job understanding. Again, comes up just a little bit here. He probably should have just stepped, okay? What he does, he runs, and then he gets out to the left. And that's where he starts to get in a little bit of trouble and creates more pressure on himself, because as we can see, we'll see a little bit better on that side from the end zone view, is Joe Thuney is blocking his guy, but he's out to the left. His shoulder pads are facing to the sideline, so Mahomes now has to find something happen. And since he's run up in the pocket here, the defensive end has run around Orlando Brown Jr. because he's not as fast and quick, and he's able to get into that pocket. Now we see the pressure start to break down. But Mahomes, being who he is, can find ways to make things happen. And again, a good job by Jerick McKinnon just finding space, getting open, understanding he's got a lot of space to work with on a linebacker. He can get open. He can find a way for Patrick to get him the football. Good job. That's one of the big reasons that Jerick has joined the Kansas City Chiefs once again. It was inevitable from a certain point of view, understanding the offense being one of those linchpins that can come in whenever they need him to. So it was always a good sign to bring him back for some insurance. But this is what I was talking about with that Joe Thuney block, is here he gets turned to the outside. As Mahomes comes up, it's hard for offensive linemen to always see what's happening. So we have outstretched as this defensive lineman gets upfield. And this is where Patrick is always at his best, okay? Little stutter step outside, and then he's like, uh-oh, I can go. But again, Thuney right here does a great job of cleaning up his block and allows Mahomes to get back to the outside and then continue on. That's what makes this play just as impressive, is because the offensive line doesn't give up. Doesn't give up. They did a great job here of continuously finding ways for help. Patrick needs help too. He can't do it all himself. So as much as the pressure was getting to him at times and he was having to make things happen with his legs, and then does a great job of just shuffling this to Jerick McKinnon, the offensive line came up big at times and helped him out a lot. This is what I want to see more of from Kansas City. So this is a under center, single back. You have trips formation really in this bunch, and the single wide out here. Doesn't matter. This oversets the defense, okay? We have a more, when I mean oversetting, you have more people over here than you do on this side of the field, okay? So naturally, you're going to create a little bit of open space for players, and specifically Travis Kelce and your other playmakers, to make things work. So just a natural play action pass, and then you have some man coverage on the back end of that from Buffalo, mirrored with a little bit of a zone here. So Milano's out to the flat with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. You have this linebacker getting in his hook zone here, more of a little depth, and then you have Travis Kelce running just behind him. And like I said, when you have all of this play action with the bunch formation, it creates windows because you do a good job of not only throwing Travis Kelce on an over route here, you have the running back to the flat, which draws the linebacker, so you have all of this space to work with. No one's in the throwing lane. There's nothing really worried here, and obviously we trust Patrick Mahomes to make a throw in a semi-tight window to Travis Kelce for a big play. This is going to be a continued factor no matter what you do with Andy Reid. He's going to find ways to get Travis Kelce the football. And when you can create windows like that, like you just, against these two high safeties, you're going to continuously find room to throw underneath. So I want to see them do more traditional play action, especially against two high safeties, because that is one less person they have to account for in the box. You can open up these windows. You can find ways to overset the defense and throw it back across their bodies, essentially to the opposite side of the field where there are less players to really account for that. So continuously finding ways to make the field you have work with what you have. And this is another thing that I talked about in the Jody Fortson video from 2 weeks ago. If you guys missed it, please go back and watch it, because this is a traditional 13 personnel set. You got 3 tight ends on the field, so you can also run out of it. And if you take out either, actually you're taking out Noah Gray and put Jody Fortson in there, you get another body in there that can actually run block. So you can open up so many different things. You can max protect out of this. You can run out of it. You can play action out of it. You can do so many different things with this 13 personnel and continue to find ways to get your best players the football, because that's what Mahomes and Andy Reid are going to do. This offensive line is going to continue to be here. It's young, it's good, and it's a top 3 offensive line in the NFL. If they can get a linchpin at right tackle, that's going to be big for them in this offensive line going forward. Now, the usage for Mecole Hardman is going to be at the most interesting to watch unfold in 2022, because Tyreek Hill's not here. I expect them to use Mecole Hardman in a lot of similar ways because of the speed. You can't account for the speed in the same way as Tyreek Hill. It's just not going to happen. So you have to find ways to use Mecole Hardman in similar ways. They drafted him believing he could do some of those things. He's not going to do everything. You're not going to ask him to create a ton of separation on a single man coverage on 4th and 2. He's not going to be asked to do that. But this specifically, he can do. So Tyreek Hill is currently down here at the bottom of your screen. He motioned from right to left. I know that I'm in the way. Let me see if I can move myself really quickly here. All right. Well, I'm going to go through here really quickly so you guys can actually see what I'm talking about. All right. So Tyreek Hill split out wide from being in the reduced split on the right side of the formation. So he motions from out here across to the wide set outside of Travis Kelce. So you get him and Travis on the same exact side. All right. Perfect. Beautiful. Makes sense. Okay. That way you can run him up, because you still have to account for Travis Kelce. You have this zone defender on the outside who's getting more towards Travis Kelce. Linebacker is also getting in his drop with him. So that's 2 guys away from the underneath player, Tyreek Hill, already. You have running back responsibility out of the backfield. I should actually clean this up a little bit. So McKinnon's going to release out of the backfield. That brings a linebacker to him as well. So you're opening up. This is what Andy Reid does best. He schemes things for everybody. You do it for everybody. He doesn't always need Tyreek Hill to beat everybody one-on-one. You can scheme him open too. But again, pass protection paramount. You can do this with Mecole Hardman, okay? This is nothing required of Mecole Hardman other than just running into open space, into free space. Mahomes steps up and there's a ton of area around. You're going to have MVS that can run down the field and draw some attention with these safeties here as well. So just getting him in space is going to be a huge addition for Mecole Hardman, and one of the reasons I truly believe that he can come out this year, have a very good season, and ultimately get over 1,000 yards, because Andy Reid is still the best schemer and play caller in the NFL. He's going to find ways to utilize speed and Mecole Hardman's acceleration to his advantage. You all know that I am a Clyde truther, and I always will be. I trust I like his skill set as a runner between the tackles and a pass catcher. This right here is what he needs to do to not only hold the starting job this year, but to continue to be in Kansas City for longer in his career. Coming out of his injury and coming out of his surgery, he did not have a good start to the season. He had a couple games against the Chargers and the Eagles where he had good stats, okay? But again, all because it was created. Same as this play here. It's a lot of, you got to take advantage of the offensive line, okay? It's a very good offensive line. You have to be able to take advantage of what they give you. Against Buffalo, they did a very good job of opening up holes. Clyde looked way more explosive. And again, he did on this play. He knows exactly where he's supposed to go with it. One of the big things that Clyde has to do here is continue to find open spaces. The offensive line is going to continue to open these holes. But what you need to see here is the one thing that Clyde's always done coming out. The Chiefs pull Blake Bell up through the hole, take on a linebacker. What he does is he presses that A gap as you have a double with Tooney and Creed Humphrey, kind of making it hard for the linebacker to see where he's going. So when Clyde presses this A gap, it draws Edmonds right downhill. He knows he's jumping to the outside, okay? He doesn't matter what happens here. He's going to get to the outside. That hole is done because every defensive end is trying to beat Brown around the edge. So it opens up a gigantic lane for him to run through. That's all he's got to do, okay? So he just presses it and then bounces it. These are the things that he couldn't do later in the season when he was not only hurt, but trying to recover from his surgery in the offseason last year we didn't know about when he lost a ton of weight. He's more explosive in the playoffs than he ever was last year. And this is what he can do. Again, he makes Hyde miss in open space. More things that he needed to be able to do this season. He needs to continue to show in 2020 that he can do this, press these holes, get and make up some of these explosive plays, 15, 20-yard plays. That's what I'm looking for out of Clyde this year, okay? Plain and simple. He doesn't do that, his time in Kansas City is likely done. And then continuing on with the Mecole Hardman thing is this is a fun play, not only from Mecole, but actually watching him kind of mature before our own eyes. Last year and before in his career, he was really more of a try to get to the edge, no matter what, get to the edge. But here he does a very good job of putting the brakes on and re-accelerating. Things that Mecole Hardman and Tyreek Hill do extremely well. That's what's called re-acceleration. What I mean by that is right here, he's accelerating, okay? He's trying to get to the edge. That's what Travis Kelce's trying to do. That's what Blake Bell's trying to do. They're trying to get to the edge so they can block these guys. So Mecole Hardman has a free release to the outside to the end zone. So he's currently accelerating. Re-acceleration is when you're able to put on the brakes. Right there. He does a good job. And then he accelerates. He gets right by everybody. All three of those guys, he just left in the dust. And before, like I said, he would have tried to get to that outside. But block from Travis Kelce, gets Milano on his butt, and to the outside, he can't do anything. Okay? He can't get back to it. And Mecole takes advantage of that. He decelerates, gets through that small gap that was created from the block, and then from the pursuit angle from the other defenders, and he comes upfield. It's not a huge one, but you also have to respect his speed back this way. So you have the ability to transverse field here as Mecole Hardman, and these guys all have to respect that. So they'd have no idea what to do. So you can throw the brakes on, and then he can get upfield. So I'm hoping that his confidence gained from his downward stretch last season into the playoffs and how he was actually utilized pretty well in the playoffs and postseason, was able to score some touchdowns, can continue his confidence. He said, I think we've said that he's put on 10 pounds this offseason, which is going to help him continue to get through some of those tackles, try to create better angles and running lanes, and try to just continue to break some tackles. This is more of a pump-up stage because this is where we get to relive one of the greatest moments in Kansas City Chiefs history. Like, this is where everyone, myself included, was down. We knew that with 13 seconds left, it's almost impossible. The things that don't happen, that don't go well after you give up a late fourth quarter touchdown to one of the best teams in football in the Buffalo Bills, it's hard to overcome that. But why? Why did Buffalo do this? Why did they do it? There's so much space. You have the best space creator in the NFL in Tyreek Hill. He gets 20 yards in a matter of seconds. What are we doing here? Like, I'm happy with it, but still, look at all the space. They just created it, assuming that they were going to try to throw deep, try to get a touchdown. Why just not play for it? Like, it's so funny to see it happen. They have two great blockers in Travis Kelce, and really underrated blockers in Travis Kelce, and then a really good blocker in Byron Pringle out in front of Tyreek Hill. Insane, great draw by Andy Reid and understanding. And then we all know what happens after this play, because Travis Kelce says it. He comes back to him and says, can we do this? Like, they changed it up at the line. They knew we had the space to work with, and just being able to continually bring this home. Like, this was so much fun to watch. We know that they go on to win, but the 13 seconds just will forever live, not only in Buffalo infamy, but in Kansas City Chiefs history as being one of the greatest things to ever happen, to ever see, to ever witness. I remember every feeling in that moment, how nervous I was about the last 13 seconds of the game. Like, I still get giddy thinking about how they were able to overcome it, to win that game and get that field goal. Obviously, ice in Harrison Butker's veins to be able to hit that field goal, to send it to overtime. And then we all know that Patrick Mahomes hits Travis Kelce in the end zone for that touchdown 8 yards out. But many people forget, Mecole Hardman had the big 20-plus yard play that got them into 8 yards out, where Travis Kelce was then able to score that touchdown. So there's a lot of things coming into this season that we can look to that Buffalo game and say, okay, they replicate this in 2022, which I still think they're going to see a lot of too high safeties. It's the Mahomes effect. He's created this have to prevent the deep field throws. You still have speed in Mecole Hardman. You have as well MVS. You still have Sky Moore now. You drafted him this season. He's got some downfield speed too. So the threat of speed is there. Mahomes always is going to try to take advantage of those single high if you see it too. So that's something defenses just can't continue to do, and with good conscience play a single high safety against Patrick Mahomes. He's always going to exploit it, find ways to do that. He did it even last year when they flashed it every now and then. So he'll find ways to do it. They're going to still see two highs, a lot of two high shells this season. They worked down the field so well against Buffalo, the best defense in the NFL last year by DVOA. Don't forget that. They were the best defense, period, in every statistical category. They just dismantled it. Patrick's growth underneath, hitting the open receivers, getting through his progressions to Pringle and to the running backs. That's one of the biggest things that's going to happen this year, is he's going to have to get through all of his progressions with his new receivers, with Juju, with Sky, with MVS. Now getting to the running backs too, we expect Clyde's passing role to grow this year as well. So lots to look forward to. Again, that 13 personnel set's going to be very, very key to the growth of the Kansas City offense and taking that next evolution from a team that always really throws it on the yard, but now you can line up in that 13 personnel set. You can play action out of it. You can throw down the field. You can match protect. Do so many different things. It's so versatile, and I'm really looking forward to it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little flashback to one of the greatest moments in Chiefs history. Make sure you hit the like, hit the bell, and the sub for the Chiefs channel, this RGR channel, as we continue to grow and get out to all those other Chiefs fans. Tomorrow is Chief in the North with Seth and myself. Ryan will be able to make it, so make sure you tune into that. It's going to be a lot of fun. Seth and I always have a good time. And yeah, we'll be here the rest of the week getting you guys with all of the news you need from now until training camp and all the way through the NFL season. Please have a great day.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more and subscribe to RGR Football.